who we are for today. It's the second webinar of the Plant Intercluster Network. We did the first one in March about organic production around Europe, and today we will talk about vertical farming. So thanks to our speakers to be here today with us, and hopefully you could bring also an added value. You as participant, feel free on the chat to already, if you mind, to put just your name and your structure and how you are involved in vertical farming. That will help us to understand better and maybe also to oriented question and so on. So once said that, let's start. So again, welcome to our speakers. Myself, I'm Nicolas Fégeant, and I'm working from France with the cluster called VEGEPOLYS VALLEY. And we welcome also from France, Nicolas Fégeant from Futura Gaia. Hello, Nicolas. We welcome also Ramin Ebrahimejad from Association of Vertical Farming from Denmark. And my colleagues from Denmark, from Food and Bioclusters, Klaus Mortensen. So that's the order. I will start to talk about the generalities for us as French. And then we will have also an overview of what's happening in Denmark on vertical farming with Ramin. And we will get more into detail with the specific case of Futura Gaia. And Klaus will conclude the session. And I will also inform you that the webinars part will normally last 1 hour, but we would like also to enjoy the time together and having some networking session at the end. It will be not recorded, and it will allow us to know each other better and maybe raise some issues, trend, challenges that you could have, and maybe know each other better. So that's my introduction, and now I will start. So about the plant intercluster, just one word, and I won't be long on this. I'm sorry for Klaus, because on the map you can't see now a food and bio cluster, but there is also another from Poland who joined the network this month, so we didn't update the map yet. It's a network of clusters, so universities, companies, and research centers. We are this triple helix association working in plant industry. You see on the map that we are in different countries in Europe, and the main point is for European project, but also for business development and business facilitation. So that's the aim that we have. VEGEPOLYS VALLEY is leading this network, and what we want is to learn from each other, but also allow exchanges between our members, identify common challenges, and for sure make more collaboration and innovation together. Feel free to contact, if you are from Denmark, to contact Klaus, if you are from France, us, or other cluster based in France. And we could link one country with another. It's our role and purpose of this network. Then I just want to highlight something important. It's within 10 days or 2 weeks, we will have this important event, our annual event, where the different clusters working in plant will meet each other. And due to the COVID situation, for sure, we maintain in 100% digitals. So it's free, and we have already 140 participants from 25 countries. So feel free to connect and make sure that you could also network over there. The main point of these 3 days, it's 2 half days to tell the truth. So it's a zero carbon footprint and bio-based solution in horticulture. So again, I will put on the chat in just after the link if you want to connect to this. Now, about the topic, VEGEPOLYS VALLEY, as I said, it's a French cluster. We have 500 members around France. And what we do, it's working in plant industry. Almost we say agri-food cluster, but in reality, we are more focused on plant. It comes from cereals, aromaticals, horticultures, ornamentals, and fruit and vegetables for sure. And we do as cluster innovation. And we work on 7 thematic areas, from genetics to uses. And one of them is urban greening the city, or urban farming, or even landscaping in the city. So that's the point that I will introduce to you now in brief, to understand who is the mapping of our stakeholders and members working on it and what they do. That's roughly, it's not the prettiest slide that you will see today, but that's more or less the mapping of what we can understand when we talk about urban farming. At the beginning, we have the Technical Institute, Research and Training Institute, where they could do experimentation, collecting data, technical data for sure, of how to produce into a city and how to also organize the city for the production of vegetables. That's the first step. Then we have for sure all the suppliers, all the technical equipment for LEDs, substrates, irrigation system that they have an offer adapted for horticulture as we are used to do in the countryside, but they have to adapt or maybe learn also how to adapt their services to an indoor farming or rooftop farming and so on. So those people are coming from the tech or coming from the agriculture who have to adapt to urban specificities. And how to do urban farming without any plant producers. So we have two way to call them. The first, it's more for landscaping, how to make the city greenest and also more comfortable to live. And that's for all the breeders and all the producers of plants, ornamentals. And the other part, it's the producers of vegetables. And that's the other part, to say how we can adapt and we can produce locally, closer to the consumer. And all those people are connected with all the ecosystem. Even if into the city, we are used to the ecosystem of agriculture, but here within the city, it's another ecosystem with collectivity, association, architects, and the citizens, much more than in the countryside, and the builders. So in a way, what we have to understand that the last point, sorry, maybe I will come back on here, it's the designer of urban production system. That's the main point, maybe. Who has the idea of how to produce into the city? And we could mention a large range of situation and large range of solution to produce within the city. So here within our cluster, we have people who have the concept and could sell the concept, or people who have the concept and are also the producers. So that's the point. Each one has a business model very different. The production by now, it's more or less green leaf production, small vegetables, aromatics, and they can do some direct sellings and direct production and go directly to the consumer. Also from food suppliers like a big restaurant or collectivities, or even for the distribution. We could see vertical farming or indoor farming within the city into the distribution area. And as I said, a citizen, there is also some project within that. The point to understand how make a greener city, it's all about agriculture within the city. It's also not only for the production, but we have to pay attention to well-being and stress reduction for the citizen, for the city itself, cooling the city, the air quality. So it has plenty of advantages and plenty of parameters that it has to be insert within the global reflection and the global strategy of those stakeholders who are interested to produce within the city. Here we can talk about soil permeability, but when the topic of today will be the vertical farming, some of those elements won't be so important, but it's important here to put the overview of what could be the production within the city. I will just talk very briefly about vertical farming. For us, the two main challenges and questions that we have, it would be on the business model, because all this sector is quite new. All solution has to be experiment, test, demonstrate, and validate the business model. So that's a big information that we want. As I said, some conceptors, designers, producers, each one has to be well positioned to be efficient and have a good turnover. And the other part, it's learning also about the technical aspects. I'm sure that just after we will have more detail about the lighting, about the hydroponic system, the mobility. So there is some vertical farming very more mobile, let's say, and the main point could be the energy cost and how to make more efficient at the level of energy. To finish my speech now, I will just again show two examples of what could be what the members could do in terms of urban farming. The first, the big advantage would be the proximity and the quality of the products. Here we could say that it's vertical farming as well, but it's outdoor. That's a solution by VEGEPOLYS. And you can see the different way they have to produce on the rooftop or in urban land. That's the development of innovative urban agricultures. You see hydroponics and aeroponics. And that's now productive urban farms and totally integrated to the plan of the city. So you see it could be local production, short circuit for sure, freshness, and all these advantages that we already know. And the big point, and we talked in the last webinar about organic production when we are in hydroponic system, organic protection methods. Here, even if by now we can't get a label, at the end, the consumer is interesting to know that there is no pesticide used. And the second point, it's something that we want also to integrate. Some members are working on it okay, producing the city, we are more connected to the consumer, and that's a good way to involve more the citizens within the agriculture action and how to produce. So the educational activities and the reappropriation of urban space, it's also one parameter that some of our stakeholders take into account before launching a project. So that would be the example of Caresser, and that's another member of VEGEPOLYS Valley who wants to create a biodiversity within garden into school, and that makes an action on pedagogical aspects, and that's for discovery for children and maybe for the adults as well, learning and guided by teachers. So that's the way another model of what could be urban farming and respect biodiversity, composting, waste recovery, and so on. So here it is. I don't know if I still have time or not, but that's the main point, that we could have the diversity, and we will hear just after Futura Gaia, who has a totally different model and totally way to produce vertically indoor, and you will see also all the challenges and the model that he developed. So by now, I think that it's all for me. I will let the floor to Ramin to have now an overview of Danish Vertical Farming Association. So Ramin, please.
Thanks a lot. First of all, thank you for the organizers for inviting me. And just a correction, the association is based in Germany and I am the Nordic representative. So I'm going to try to share my screen. Okay. Okay, I will be talking more in general settings, the state of vertical farming in the world. Also, we can talk about regions, but it will be a general talk on the vertical farming industry in general. Just a brief introduction to the agriculture's timeline. We had been doing the same thing for centuries before the First World War, and it was a basic use of technology. But after the First World War, we had the mechanization and introduction of tractors into the field. After the Second World War, we had the agrochemicals, the pesticides, the fertilizers, and it helped us to produce more food. But now we see that there is a lot of environmental degradation coming from those use of agrochemicals. Now we are in the digital revolution, which is happening in different industries, but we're mostly going to be using it in agriculture in the form of vertical farming. The use of covered production settings goes back to centuries ago. Simple covered systems and greenhouses, and now we have vertical farm to use better for a better use of space. There are different terminologies involved. We have indoor farms, vertical farms, controlled environment agriculture, which also accounts for greenhouses, the high-tech greenhouses, and also plant factory with artificial lighting, which is the term mostly used in the Asian countries. So it's a concept that it has to be multi-level structure, uses the state-of-the-art climate control technologies, advanced nutrient and water delivery systems, and also artificial lighting system. There are different types of indoor farming. You can have home appliances, container farms, which is good for food deserts and remote places, in-store farms, and larger scale farms, which is the more prevalent form of vertical farming. You can use different systems, aquaponics, which includes fish for source of nutrients, aeroponics, which sprays the water and nutrient solution to the root system, and hydroponics, which is the root system is immersed in water and nutrient solutions. You can grow theoretically anything in a vertical farming settings, but mostly now they're used for plants, leafy greens, microgreens, herbs, edible flowers. Now we are seeing berries, cherry tomatoes, strawberries, and these kind of plants are becoming more prevalent in the vertical farming settings. But you can also have fish, insects, mushroom, algae in these production settings as well. And as an industry, indoor farming can contribute to the food system, to food industries, pharmaceuticals, nutraceuticals, and animal feed altogether. The need for vertical farming is rising, and we can say that because of these elements, urbanization rates, land use change, and environmental degradation from conventional farming, supply chain discrepancies, which we saw during the pandemic, and the longer the supply chain, the harder it's going to be to control it. So vertical farming, bringing the production settings in the urban area, it's going to help us have more efficient supply chains. Demand for better food and access to better food is rising, and also climate change impacts. Agriculture is both culprit and also is going to take the biggest impacts from climate change. So we have to find solutions, and vertical farming can play a part. Just to show what agriculture is doing to our planet on the diversity side, on the phosphorus and nitrogen cycles, you can see the black dots showing that we are past the high risk point. So we have to reduce these, and vertical farming can help in that path. And it's a global problem. You can see from biodiversity, the nitrogen cycle, freshwater use, it's everywhere. And we have to have a basket of different solutions to tackle these challenges. And also dietary change is going to be one part of it. We have to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, and vertical farming in urban areas can produce that excess vegetable and fresh fruits that we need. Just a couple of benefits of vertical farming. There is no use of pesticide or herbicide, circular resource use, so you can have the same water cycle and trying to recycle the water, and the water can come from rainwater, and this is the best form of circular economy in agriculture. And you can have hyper local production, better flavor and nutritional value because of the control, the hyper control that you have over light recipes or nutrient recipes, and all the climatic elements in an indoor farm. Higher yield because of better use of space, and production independent of climate. It doesn't matter where you have minus 50 degrees outside or plus 50. Just these are the regions that we are seeing a growth in both investments and starting of vertical farms. In the Northern America, you have venture funds. Basically, most of them are technology venture funds that are supporting the growth of the industry. In Asia, it's been a part of the food system for a couple of decades, mostly in Japan, that they started this from 80s because of lack of a space to grow food. So to both produce domestically and also reduce the environmental impact of supply chains. And in the Middle East, they're looking at it as some sort of a food security option so that they're more independent of imports from outside. And in Europe, you're seeing a better demand for better food and reducing the environmental impact of agriculture. That's why we are seeing a great attention being given to vertical farming. A wave of investments are pouring to agtech, and these are mostly based in the US, but now we're seeing governments and funding bodies in Europe, in Asia, paying great attention to these new technologies, both to combat the climate change and also reduce our environmental impact. The new advancements in the industry is going to be more efficient LEDs. The semiconductor industry is going through an overhaul, and new chips are getting introduced to all the computing systems. If we go far into the future, we're going to have quantum computing, and those devices are not comparable to what we have right now. And HVAC systems, sensors, and monitoring systems, because everything can be connected in an indoor farm, and that's going to create a lot of data. And with the use of AI, IoT, 5G, these are the technologies that will bring more efficiency and productivity to vertical farms. And also the automation and robotics will be, if the initial investment is high enough, there is the technology for fully automated vertical farms, but it depends on the amount of energy that you want to consume in a vertical farm and the money that you have for the capex. And also the new seeds that are coming, because till now we only bred seeds for outdoor growth. So they are tolerant to salinity or drought, but now we can be more focused on the nutritional value and create seeds that are more compatible to the vertical farming settings of production. And in the future, we hope to see more consumer awareness, higher energy efficiency, diversified crops, and also certified and standardized farms. As Nicolas said, in Europe, they don't give organic certification to vertical farms. That's why we are trying to create our own certification scheme to both increase the sustainability of farms and also to get the consumer to know that this is a premium product that didn't use any pesticides and also didn't harm environment as other products. And also supportive local and regional policies, capital, and educated workforce. Just to finish off, a brief introduction to our association. It is based in Munich, Germany, but we have staff members all over the world. And it was started in 2013. And now we have members from the upstream companies like LED producers, technology providers, vertical farming operators, and also the related industries like the retailers and also research institutions and universities who are active in the indoor farming industry. Just a couple of our featured members, and I thank you all for your attention, and I hope that we can get you as a member if you want to see this industry grow. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I think that now we will have a speech from the business case, let's say, of Futura Gaia. So please, Nicolas, if you could share your screen, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ramin, for this great presentation of vertical farming. I won't spend so much time going back to what you said, and indeed, the goal of Futura to go deep into the detail on different ways we can grow vegetables with the vertical farming approach. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Maybe I should put it in full screen. Is it okay for you or not?
Full screen will be better, please. Yes, perfect.
All right. Ramin mentioned three different type of vertical farming solution, and today I'm going to talk about the fourth one. So it's just to illustrate that that industry is moving fast. Indeed, since the early age of vertical farming, the majority of the solutions are hydroponic based or aeroponics. And in fact, when we started Futura Gaia a little bit more than 2 years ago, so we are a rookie in that industry, very young company, we made the decision that we have to take a different path, which is focusing even more on the quality of the produce. And to do that, the decision and the result of our investigation was that real soil was bringing advantages. So we started to have a different approach of that business. Business-wise, we won't have time today to get into the detail, but of course, I'll be available to discuss with you how we see the business model approach of vertical farms, the way we see it. We will concentrate on the technical aspect. Two sides. One side is the real technical, the technology we put in the solution, and the other one will be the agronomic aspects. And my agronomy director, Vincent, will take the lead for the second part of the presentation. Okay, to be able to perform in vertical farming, you need to master two different crucial aspects. The first one is agronomy. And in fact, we at Futura Gaia, and I think most of the vertical farmers have the same concern, we need to put agronomy at the center of everything we do to guarantee the quality of what we're going to produce. Of course, then technology is going to back up our agronomic ambitions. And as Ramin mentioned, we have to put in place a lot of different technology, hardware and software. And this is what we've done at Futura Gaia. On the agronomy side, it's a very quick overview of all we need to take into consideration, but Vincent will go into the detail a little bit later on, so I'm going to go fast on it. Technology-wise, instead of reinventing the wheel, because I think it's something very important to make sure that you can grow a sustainable model. If you reinvent every piece of technology you put into your system, it's going to be very expensive and you have no way to reach an economic point of view. So what we do is we have subsystems which are based on things that are already existing, and sometimes we adapt, and sometimes when we don't have the solution, we create. The brain of this solution, no matter who you are in that industry, is information system. There is something specific at Futura Gaia, and in our information system, we deliver farms that not only integrate what we call an industrial information system to manage the production, but we also have a full ERP solution, which is giving the farm holder to take order, manage his people, place order for the suppliers, and have a full-fledged ERP system in place. Okay, in terms of market segmentation, we've been talking a lot about food, and the solution we put in place at Futura Gaia is also targeting another industry, which is a processing industry, food, of course, but cosmetic, pharmaceutical industry, perfume industry. And in fact, this is a very interesting approach to be able to balance your business model. If you are in Europe and you only can sell salad, it's making it difficult. In the US, it's much easier. So in fact, the goal in our solution is to have a very versatile solution that can help the producer to do salads, aromatic herbs, but also flowers or plants in which you will optimize the active ingredient for these industries. And of course, it is giving you a much broader business opportunity and help you to have a more sustainable business model for your farm. Okay, let's go into the detail of what a farm looks like. Indeed, a vertical farm by Futura Gaia is something to produce a lot of vegetables. It's not comparable to urban agriculture, where in fact you produce hyperlocally small volume. Here we are in peri-urban area, and of course it looks like a factory. And the most important aspect of this is to have a segmentation of the farm in different growing and area, which are climatic area as well. So it means in each chamber like that, you have a specific climate that will give you the opportunity to produce one specific variety of a specific plant. And this is again going to broaden the versatility of your farm, because at the end of the day, if you have one farm dedicated to produce only one product, you might have a hard time in terms of business model. So I will just concentrate on two different aspects because we have only 15 minutes and it should take probably 1 hour and a half to go into the details of that presentation. So we will concentrate on the growing system zone and the water treatment and nutrimix zone. So our system is rotating geopony. Geopony means real soil, and the rotating, it means that our growing system is rotating. So it's a wheel. Inside this wheel, you have racks with soil, and you have the plant inside the soil. So these wheels are put into a growth zone, which is a climatic chamber. The average size is we put 36 systems in one zone. A total farm is something between 360 and 432 growing systems. And it can produce, more or less, to give you an example, 500 tons of salad per year on a footprint which is something around 4,500 square meters. Okay. This is a picture of what it looks like once it is set it up. So in this growth zone, you have no human being getting in. So the growing system are being moved by AGVs, automatic guided vehicle, for security reason for human beings and sanitary reason, not to have people getting into the growing zone and then bringing some disease and stuff. Because of course, without any pesticides, you cannot take risk of bringing anything into your growing zone. So what else can I tell you? I will move to germination, which is fast. It's classic in any kind of growing system, so that's fast. Everything related to seedling and transplanting, it's also something coming from the greenhouse industry. So we have not invented anything there. It's common. Of course, it means it is cheap, it is easy to set up, it is easy to maintain, and it has a positive impact on the global business model of the farm. Okay, we keep moving forward. This is to illustrate the kind of automation we put. So I mentioned earlier that the growing system were moved by AGVs. On the other side, everything related to transplantation is done automatically. So when you have the tray coming from the germination rooms, this system is transplanting very fast into the rack that are going into the growing system. The name of the game, and I think I will take a few more minutes to discuss about water treatment and nutrimix. Ramin mentioned it, but I think we really need to emphasize the concern about water consumption is something which is at the top of our list. It's even more a concern than anything related to energy. We think on the worldwide basis that we are about to face a big water crisis. And today in the US, you already have the stock exchange in Chicago who has built a specific investment tools regarding the water in California. So it means water is about to be something really crucial. So we have invested a lot of time and energy into designing something that will make our solution the most efficient in terms of water usage. So of course, we need to make sure to have clean product, that the water is clean. So if you take organic product from which are grown with water which is not super clean, then you have the problem into the vegetables. So we have a way to filter by osmosis the water, and then we add nutrients into the solution, and we microdose the nutrients. So this is the way we perform it. We push the solution with nutrients into this type of tanks, and each tank is bringing the daily needs of the machines for a specific variety. So everything according to the light, to the warming, to the air conditioning, and of course the nutrients is being part of what we call a recipe. And this recipe is being controlled and managed by the information system. So again, technical room, we use compressed air just to illustrate what we put in place into a farm like that. All these equipment to build a standard farm has a capex which is around 8.5 million euro, between 8.5 to 9 million euro, depending on what you need to set up. So I will let you do the calculation. If you sell only salad, knowing that you can produce 500 tons of salad, it means you have a price for the salad which is more compatible with the US price of salad than with the European price of salad. And if you compare with salad coming from greenhouses in Spain, of course, you have a hard time. So that's an important reason why to have the highest versatility possible in the farm, to make sure that you won't be stuck to have only salad to produce. Now I will let Vincent take the lead on the agronomic part, because of course, everything which is related to agronomy relies into the quality of the product. And as it was mentioned before by Nicolas and Ramin, we need to shoot for a top quality product. There is no compromise on the quality. And at Futura Gaia, this is really the center of our concern. So everything which is built in the system is to make sure that we have the highest possible quality. And Vincent will explain you how it works. So I hope it's gonna work. I'm gonna click on the presentation and he's gonna talk.
Yeah, hi everybody. So let's take a breath and let's go for a ride on the plant side, because you see the wheel. The wheel is really improving the energy part. It has been built for this. It means that within a wheel you've got a 1,000 plant or more, and only 3 to 4 lamp. So that means that in terms of light use efficiency, we are very, very good. But this is rotative, so how the plant is moving in it. So this is what I'm talking about right now. So can you please go next slide? If you can. Okay, thank you. So there is a lot of advantage actually doing plant in a rotative system. The first part is really the light, because everything is homogeneity. And the second part is the water management. The drippers are really at the top of the system, and the plants are irrigated when the head of the plant are head down. So the water drip is coming directly into the roots. This means that we have no loss, no drainage, no circulating water, and no risk associated to this. 100% of the water we put in our system is going to the plant. This means that for sure we need a pure water system and a good nutrition management. In terms of saving percentage, comparing to the other agricultural models, for sure we are a lot more efficient than open field, for sure about greenhouses system also, but comparing with other CA system, we are also better than this, because there is no evaporation linked to the hydroponic part, for example. So we've done some exercising on basil and aromatics, and also on lettuces, and we have up to 25% of water saving in our system. Can you go on the next slide? So what, for every vertical farmers, we have to master 4 parts in our recipe, agronomical recipe, in terms of objective to the plant. If you want to have a yield objective, or if you want to have a molecule of objective, depending on which part of the industry you are working for, I mean pharmaceutical or agroalimentary, for example. So we need to study the biosynthesis pathway, everything that is going to the physiology of the plant, and then mastering the 4 boxes that is mentioned here. So I will go into details in these 4 boxes. Next slide.
I think there's a question. I don't know if you're open for that now, or you will rather wait.
However, as you want right now.
There's a
It's up to
question.
you. We can go to the end and then have question and answer. It's up to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
So the first part is really to master the ambient environment. So you've seen that we can master the climate easily using new technology of control environment climate. But what the rotative part is doing to the plant. So the plant has an internal system which tells where is the gravity. In our system, we have a rotative part, so the gravity is everywhere. It's changed every minute. And the plant will move is like statolites, it's like stones inside the cell to orientate the growth of the plant. In association to the ventilation of our system, which will have a close interaction with the growth also of the plant, we can have a strengthened texture of our plant, because the plant will use these 2 forces at its best to grow gustative plants and also a more shelf life time. So
I attract your attention on the conservation. It's something really crucial today when we discuss about the industry. To be able to have an upside in terms of pricing for that type of products, you need to bring something more. And in fact, to reduce waste, the produce conservation is something key. And today you can keep these products 3 to 4 weeks in the fridge without any problem. And this is the big advantages of real soil and rotative solution. Excuse me, Vince.
Yes, for sure, because when you are growing plants only fully in hydroponic system, I mean water every time, it's really a lot of water inside the plant and outside the plant. But inside the plant, it's really a lot of water. Using geopony and rotative part, the forces that is driven the growth of the plant will strengthen it, and it will be very at our advantage. So next slide. I was mentioning the light direction in the first slide, so this is also something that is really key for us, because the growth of the plant is directed by the light source. So in our system, the plants are turning around the sun-like plant, but they are turning around the sun, and the growth of the plant is really homogeneous in our system. There is a very interesting part in this. Next slide, because I have to go quickly. And something that is really interesting in our system, except from the rotative part that now we are mastering more, is the part concerning the soil. So we are using living soil because it's better for the roots, and living because we are doing some biostimulation in our system. So biostimulation, if you can go on the slide, the next slide, biostimulation is really not possible or not feasible using fully hydroponic system, because the microorganism won't be stuck to the roots. In geopony system, you can have a real soil. That means that we have a continuous exchange between the roots, the microorganism, and the soil. And this is very, very an advantage in terms of water efficiency, nutrient efficiency, and also the qualitative part of the plant. So next slide. Here are some results, but I will go very, very fast on it. Using biostimulation microorganism to be precise, we succeeded to increase yield by up to 18 to 32%. Next slide, and then something linked to the geopony and the rotative part is really the quality of our product in terms of nutritional, but also gustative and post-harvest part. So here are two examples of our products. So fresh lettuce and fresh Genovese basil. In comparison to the SQL database, which is a reference of a nutritional quality of products, we can see that our products are more nutritive than others in terms of potassium, also carbohydrates, and the energy value also. So that's it for this quick presentation. We are free to answer any question. Thank you.
Almost on time. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks again, both of you, Nicolas and Vincent. Now we have still time to Klaus. I'll let you the floor and you will conclude with question and answer session as well. So Klaus.
Yes, thank you very much. I don't know if it makes sense to have the questions now for Nicolas.
As you
There's a few questions here. I'll just read them aloud. So how does the energy cost of rotation system compare to other CEA systems?
Okay, we started, first of all, we are probably one of the very few players in that industry that has not moved yet to LED. So we are still using a specific lighting system, which is not LED, because we made a decision to have something which is consistent for all kind of culture. So we have midday sun quality of light with our current system. Again, it is for versatility. So basically, on a business point of view, light represents today something around 10% of the global revenue of a farm. So of course, it's a major challenge. And Vincent can probably give some example that today we are working on switching to LED if we can keep the same quality, because again, the focus for us is the quality of what we produce. And then it means we have to make some decision into what kind of technology we use. So until we can get the same qualitative result with LED, we stick to our current solution. But basically, we think we can make probably something like 20 to 25% economy into lighting and energy consumption with the move to LED. What is important in our solution is that we work on something called an EMS system, energy management system. And this energy management system is giving the opportunity to the farm owner to decide a strategy in terms of energy consumption. So you can decide whether you want to be as green as possible, so with the lowest possible impact with your energy, or as effective as possible in terms of economics. So this is a software tools which is giving you the opportunity to manage your energy consumption according to your strategy. So basically what we put in place is solar panel on top of the roof. We put used electric battery cars to store energy into the farm and then be able to reuse that energy which is stored during the day to get disconnected from the network, from the grid. So we have plenty of improvement like that in process. What you need to keep in mind is that the solution you've seen is a V0. Futura Gaia is only 24 months old, so we cannot perform the final optimized solution in less than 3 years compared to the rest of industry. But basically, this is something which is, of course, in the center of our concern.
Thank you very much. I think I'll leave the rest of the questions to the networking session. I'm just going to share my screen here. All right, I hope you see it. Is it full screen now, Nicolas?
Yes, indeed.
Good. All right, my name is Klaus Mortensen. I'm a business developer, but also network manager in the newly found Danish vertical farming network, which is a part of Food and Biocluster Denmark. I'm gonna just use 10 minutes to present the Danish ecosystem within vertical farming, how the progress has been the last 5-6 years within the sector, and then list some of the challenges and also the opportunities that we see from a Danish perspective. But I'm quite sure that those issues and opportunities are something that could be copy-paste to other markets as well. So basically, Food and Biocluster Denmark is a cluster, which means a professional network of different stakeholders in the whole agri-food value chain from farm to fork. Basically our purpose is to increase innovation and competitiveness through different activities, networking events, one-to-one sparring and coaching, access to finance, and so on. So we are a non-profit. We've been through a merge last year, but we've existed for the last 20 years. We are, I think, 35 sector experts in Denmark in 6 different offices. And we run 3 incubator hubs, which means that here, for instance, here in Copenhagen, where I'm based, I'm managing a small office facility for agri-food companies, basically. These are some of the members, consist of some of the bigger companies, Arla, KMC, Potato Flour Company, BASF, Novozymes, but also smaller vertical farming companies like Nabofarm. Also, the biggest organic producer of greens, which is Monson. Selling Group, also a member, which is one of the bigger retailers. We have around 280 paying members, and we have a quite large project portfolio of different activities. And we run 7 different networks, which includes the vertical farming network. So we have crossover effects from, let's say, food safety, food technology design, but also sustainable packaging. So we run these members only network, basically. We do a lot of events. We have a lot of dialogues with different companies, and our finest goal is basically to bring people together to work together and create value. We are a proud member of Plant Intercluster, but we also have partners in 65 different countries, and basically helping Danish companies and universities to find partners abroad, both on an R&D level, but also on the commercial. So our business models is, of course, membership fees, but also project finance and a bit of consulting as well. So what we've done, we started in February 2020 with our effort and our focus on vertical farming. That was a partnership project together with the Copenhagen University and their urban farming and vertical farming sector experts, where we basically mapped out the different challenges and in the sector by interviewing all the growers. And then we had a discussion with the different authorities on these challenges and how, let's say, the private and the public sector can work better together. Based on a large event we did last year in November with 280 participants online and let's say offline in Copenhagen. We decided basically to do 2 networking events for Danish members, Danish companies and entities in spring this year. Due to the quite high interest, we established a Danish vertical farming network, and we have 2 networking meetings, one in August and one in November, and we're hoping to do another larger international conference in the beginning of next year. And then we have, of course, besides the networking activities, we help our members to grow. So if I just to map some of the different stakeholders in Denmark, I have not included everyone. But these are some of the more important ones. So you have the solution providers, the technology developers, Seasony, which is doing robots for vertical farming, Segmentation, which is many types of optimization systems. You have soil sense measuring moisture in soils. You have HP now doing water cleaning systems. These are, of course, the companies who are developing new solutions for the global vertical farming sector. Then we have our producers, which are Refarm, Infarm, Økologihaven, is a hybrid vertical farm, and Neighbor Farm, but also let's say the biggest one in Northern Europe is called Nordic Harvest. Then we have different communities, which include Food Embargoes Denmark as the national anchor point. But of course, Ramin and his colleagues in the Association for Vertical Farming creates this international network outside Denmark for our members. Then we have the advisors, which mainly come from the horticulture sector. And of course, we shouldn't leave out both the R&D and research and development partners, the two different universities, Aarhus University and Copenhagen University, but also the authorities. Because one of the challenges, I will get back to that, one of the challenges is that for authority, vertical farming is a bit difficult to place in the existing boxes when it comes to red tape. And that's, I'll get back to that. So actually the last 1 year, 1.5 years has been really exciting in Denmark. We've seen basically all bigger retailers, which is Rema 1000, which is Selling Group, which is Coop, and Dakofa. They're all basically taking in vertical farming produce in some way. So it seems like the retailers think this is a good idea, and it seems like also that the sales, especially on the Nordic Harvest side, is doing quite well. So and you see here to the top right here, one way of, this is in Danish of course, but one way of communicating this product. So it's not just a product that should lie right next to herbs being produced in the Netherlands or elsewhere. It should be placed, and basically the retailers should teach the consumer about this new way of producing, and also hence, if it's more costly, explain why it is more costly. It's also about the taste. The taste is king here, and if you can't really communicate the taste, and then let's say the consumer doesn't buy it because it's too expensive, but because he thinks it's the same product as what is imported, then the vertical farming sector got a challenge. So it's a lot about communication as well. With regards to business models, Infarm, they have their own supermarket systems they're using. They also have a farm outside Copenhagen, while Nordic Harvest is producing outside the supermarket in a big warehouse, basically. So you have different business models on that one as well. When it comes to vertical farming in the food service, I think that's where basically you can add even more value. Denmark is well known for high quality restaurants, and I think the Copenhagen-based restaurant Alchemist just was named one of the best restaurants in the world. And I think here you really are able to create some really interesting leafy greens that you can't really buy from a typical food service company. So here I think it makes really much sense to create some really interesting tastes that can be used for the restaurant sector. I think actually our chairman said that we're not going to replace a huge part of the Danish agriculture by implementing vertical farming. We'll not be replacing the what do you call it? The core energy in what we eat. It's going to be more the taste we're gonna develop in these systems, basically. So some of the challenges are listed here. Of course, COVID-19 hit the food service sector really hard. We had one of our members, they had to only had a 20% production over 1 year, and that's not a good thing when you have a high capex, which means that you have a high investment that you need to pay back. Of course, the price level can also be high compared to imported produce. And there's also some economy of scale, which means that the bigger you get, the typically more automation you get, and which also means that you can reduce the number of people you need to hire in, and the salary is one of the bigger, together with the energy cost, of course, is one of the biggest costs in Denmark. Actually, the energy cost in Denmark is for a company, for industry, is the lowest in Europe. Again, product claims, marketing. I think there's a bit. I would say some of the producers may not be able to claim what they claim, and we need more LCAs on that, as mentioned in the chat. High salaries in Denmark, I've been through that. Still not enough R&D being invested from authority side. We're working to do something about that. Many of the R&D projects have not been funded. R&D projects that the universities in Denmark are asking to get is not being funded. Also on the European level, I don't think vertical farming is actually mentioned in the big R&D program called Horizon Europe, which just got announced, which is kind of sad. As mentioned before, also that we have to remember the agronomists in this and not just talk about technology. We see that some of the vertical farmers are maybe not experts in plant production, and I think there's good opportunities to make the link between those two sectors, the horticulture sector and the vertical farming sector. Again, educating the consumer on sustainability, that's part of communicating the product. That's really important and one of the challenges, because it's a new product, it's a new way of producing. Again, the red tape I was mentioned before, there's, for the authorities' point of view, they're willing to work with us, they're quite open, but they don't know what kind of production facility a vertical farm is. So is it a farm, or is it a food producing company, or how to place this? Basically, that's some of the issues we see, but we are in talks with the Danish authorities about that. And then a key issue is that, as mentioned before, the Ø, which is the organic label, is of high value from a consumer point of view, and it's difficult to say that a vertical farming produce is not sustainable, is sustainable if it doesn't got the Ø, which is the organic label you see in the bottom right. Opportunities from my perspective, that's also why we go into this, is that we see really good opportunities from a Danish industry point of view, that we're quite good at water efficiency. We know seedings, we know technology, entrepreneurship, food safety. We are well known for that. So I think that we have, as in Denmark, quite a lot of good opportunities to actually build a quite strong vertical farming sector in Denmark. And if we see the pace, if the pace from the last year or 1.5 years continues, I think we're going to see a quite interesting development in Denmark. And of course, we have, as in Denmark, we have a strong focus on sustainability and innovation and export. We are an exporting country, so I think that also fits really well to this agenda. And luckily, we actually see from investors' point of view that the companies we work with, who are raising capital from investors' point of view, they don't have any huge issue in racing, because this is the mix between sustainability, data, technology, entrepreneurship, scalability, and that's something investors do like. We have a quite advanced horticulture, or small one, horticultural sector, which also, as mentioned, benefit quite well into the vertical farming sector. So that was my 10 minutes and a bit more. Sorry about that. Does it leave any questions?
There is some question answered on the chat directly. Some other pending question. I don't know how we proceed now. It's the first hour. It's already over. Would we benefit from the participation to 40 people still to make this networking stuff? And then for the one who wants to have a direct answer on the chat, still there is some question on the price of a salad in such the cost of the salad for such production. There is some question of life cycle assessment.
I don't know if Nicolas, do you have any idea on the production cost of a salad in this new novel system?
Your microphone is.
Yes. We do have it, and we made the decision to move to concentrate on herbs, aromatic herbs. But basically today we are around. We calculate cost per kilos because it's easier, and it's a move which is probably a trend coming from the North American market. So we are something between 3.5 to 4 euro per kilos today. So which is compared to a salad coming from greenhouses in the south of Spain, very expensive, probably double the price, or maybe even 3 times the price. But we do not compare the same products. Basically, that's what is important. And as you mentioned, Klaus, we target some specific market at the beginning, which is for us okay in terms of business model. We have no major concern in being able to sell salads, aromatic herbs, and different plants coming from our vertical farms. But of course, it's the ROE is a little bit longer when you want to produce only salad, because you target a market which is a sub-segment of the salad market, as you said. And even if we have no concern about being able to sell salad at that price, regarding the quality of the product, of course, 500 tons in one place of salad at that price is a bit more of a challenge.
Yeah. All right. I see that you actually answered the rest of the questions, so thank you very much. I think we'll move on to the last part, which is a bit of networking. This is, of course, an important part of it. I think we'll spend not 30 minutes, but 20 minutes on this. So what I'll do now is basically put you out in groups virtually, which means that you're going to be around a virtual desk, 4 to 5 people. And then I would like you to basically just briefly present yourself and which company organization you represent, and what's basically challenges and solutions that you see, but also what you do. The purpose of this is, of course, to increase everyone's network, get new contacts in different countries, and getting perspective on things. I'll kindly ask you not to do any sales pitches, but do exchange contact information as possible. So now I'm going to put you out in different groups. Just 1 second here. Here we are.